What's up, everyone? Welcome back at the Artist Coaching Podcast.
Hey, hey,
Today
we're in real life.
we're in real life, and
I
we're
could touch you if I wanted.
hi. And today we're in the
Official artist
official
coaching
Artist
headquarters
Coaching headquarters. Exactly.
or studio. Because the headquarters is not here.
It used to be a studio, then it became an office, and now it's a podcast studio.
But the artist coaching headquarters is not here
No,
anymore.
that's in Tilburg. Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. What's up, Bit3? What's up, Josh? Ben Singh, welcome to the chat, everyone. Israel Carter, Alex Leray.
So it's busy, huh?
Yeah, it's getting full.
They're like, they see the professional setup. They're like, yes,
Oh, it's gonna be a good one.
let's go check out these lads.
Yeah. Ralph is joining us a bit later today. I think he's coming in about like 15 minutes or something, maybe 30.
He's gonna barge in and steal the show.
Probably, but I don't think you guys on the live stream will be able to see him because we've got another setup right now. So I'm not sure if that's possible, but we'll see.
In the content afterwards on TikTok and
Yeah.
Instagram for sure.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. The snippets.
And you
will
can
be
hear him because we have a microphone set up for just for
Yeah.
him. Amazing.
just for him. Just for him.
Yes.
And how are you, Jobke?
I'm a bit sad.
That's sad. Oh, why?
Well, I have a new track that's coming out at the end of this month. And I was like, hey, you know what? I always email it to DJs and I also sometimes send it in a DM on Instagram. So this time I was like, I'm going to send it to some big names in the DM. So it's like a bit of a housey track. So I'm like,
And who's a big name?
Tiesto might play it, Dom Dolla, just like the really big names because it's not for another 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I want only like A-listers to have it. So after I sent it, 5 minutes later, I see on Instagram seen by Tiesto. So
Seen.
I've sent my track to Tiesto. Tiesto, if you're watching, I know you've seen it, but seen, and that's where the story ends.
Just ghosted you.
That's where the story ends.
He just ghosted you. It's like
It hurts.
I'm not sure.
It hurts. It's because you're like always a bit like scared to send it to almost anyone, but like especially Tiesto or like Garrix or and you always just sent it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in a way really cool that he saw it. So he's seen the message or someone of his team. I don't know if he handles his own DMs. But then nothing. So like, did he listen to the track? Does he like it? Does he hate it? Does he meh it?
And
That's probably, if he listens to it, that's probably the biggest chance. It's like, yeah, it's good, but that hurts
or
too.
he didn't listen to it at all. Like he just,
Or he didn't listen. Yeah. But the
you-
fact that he saw it, I'm already like, hey, that's cool.
And you send a Dropbox link.
Yeah.
So you can't trace if he
No.
checks it.
No.
Well, it must keep you busy because you've been talking about it for a full day now. So
It's one of those things where no, I'm actually like really happy that he saw it, even that he's like, hey, or someone of his team, I don't know, but it's just, it got me wondering, like, it's one of these things that you think, or when you're not a DJ yet, you think that you get into these circles of DJs and everybody's always going to reply, and you're going to be like, oh, Tiesto is going to be my best friend.
Nope.
No, I'm still scared to send him stuff, and yeah, sometimes he replies on email, and sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he doesn't even see it, probably.
Yeah.
But it's just funny that still it's like, oh, I really want him to like it. So yeah.
We've talked about this before, that even when you're at a higher level, that still doesn't make it a guarantee that you will get signed to bigger labels or that other DJs will support your music, because eventually it's still about the music.
It's still about the music.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, if he listened to it, there's a big, well, he might still play it. He might like it. I don't know. It's been one day, but it might still be like a thing of like, yeah, it's good, not for me. Which you shouldn't in any way take personally, but you always do because it is so personal, because you made the track. So it's like, it always feels so like, oh, he doesn't like this, he's never going to open music of me anymore. What if I send him the next track and he doesn't listen to it?
What if he hates me now? Yeah.
But I always feel like as long as you send out the track and keep sending it out, if it's really good, it will eventually get out there to him, and if
Yeah.
it's really good, he will play it. So I'm not too worried.
I think the big advantage you do have, the only big advantage you have as a bigger artist is that you have the contact, as in they
Yeah,
actually open the email or they
yeah,
actually read the message.
yeah.
They don't reply, but what they
They
see,
don't listen.
yeah, they don't listen. But at least you got an
Yeah,
opportunity.
yeah, for sure. I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
But I know from Tiesto that he is always on the lookout for new talent,
Mhm.
new music. So it's like I know that if I send him an email, there is a big chance he listens to it. And I think it goes for a lot of DMs he gets, emails he gets. Um, he's just very on top of new talent, finding new music, because that's I think what makes Tiesto so big is he's always on the new trends, and that's why he's been here for as a
A
big
long
DJ
time.
forever.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's cool, and that's also why you can take it less personal when he doesn't like the track. I mean, it's one guy. I still like the track, so. But just for everybody sending demos, it stays scary. There's always people you look up to. You're scared about their opinion. You will always be ignored by people. That never ends. And yeah, there's always someone bigger to let you down. No, that sounds very negative, but
Your
I mean,
ego can always be more crushed.
yeah, 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 exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's just fun to share. I think for a lot of people, that's a cool insight into. He's played tracks of mine, like a lot, like
Mhm.
Electric Elephants. He played a lot, which is 10 years ago. I know.
Just small amount
I'm
of
getting
10
old, and
years
no, but
ago.
also like tracks lately in his radio show, and
Huh.
but yeah, it's still
It
you
hurts.
yeah, it hurts a little bit, but
Yeah.
also not because I don't take it personally at all.
Okay.
So yeah.
Let's
Which you should do too. Don't take things
yeah.
personally in this scene at all. Even when labels don't reply or are busy, it's not because of you. Which yeah, sometimes you think you feel that way, but
Yeah.
the truth is, no one gives a shit about you.
Martin Stevenson in the chat says, so the only solution to not get ignored is to be bigger than Chesto.
Yep,
Kind of sums it up.
it's 100% true.
Yeah.
You gotta be as big that he will think I have to open this
Yeah.
message.
Please open my email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I'm now trying in golf to become the next Tiger Woods. And then he's like, oh, he's super big in golf.
That's
So
the new career path. Um, quick update on the 30-day music grind, the music challenge, because we've started a music challenge for those who don't know 2 weeks ago. Today is day 14, and still a lot of people are active, and still a lot of people are starting to notice the benefits of building that consistency muscle. Um, they've been really killing it, to be honest. And if you go to the Discord, there's a special tab there where it's called the 30-day music grind. That's where you can see all the conversations, listen to the songs that they've created, or the things that they've done over time. And we're halfway through. So later today we have a motivational call because some
come
people
on,
tend to lose the
hang in
motivation.
there, buddies.
Yeah, and overall I'm happy with the results, so that's good to see. Um, you wanted to say something about your latest self-release experiences.
Yeah,
This is where it
self-releasing,
gets dark.
still awesome.
Yeah.
Always awesome. No, I so that track I sent to Tiesto, it's a bit more of a clubby housey track. And last week I set myself a deadline for uploading a new track so that I can release at the end of this month. So I was had another track that has like more melodic, and I was listening to it, and I was like all set. It was all me and my manager agreed on it, and it was like that's gonna be the one. And then I was like listening to it, I'm like, it's not finished. It needs a vocal. It really needs a vocal before I can release it. So I was like, shit. Luckily, I started a project last week, and I was like, hey, this little project could be more than just a project, and it could be a full song, which I could play in my sets. Has a J Hardway vibe to it. It reminds me a little bit of my first ever track supported by a big DJ. Check Down was the track called.
Checked down?
Yep, and it was supported by Vato Gonzalez in Eindhoven.
Ah,
But it has like a lot of samples and a really good groove to it, and I just finished it. Got it mastered by Bob Sunday, who is always doing my mixing mastering.
was it the one we just checked?
Yep, yeah,
Ah,
and it's uploaded and ready to go for the 30th of May. So it's like it's so nice to be able to be like, hey, I have the release plan, but it's not going to work yet. I want to do something else. Here I go. Within 2 days, I switched, or
yeah.
3 days, I switched the whole plan. And I think that's so amazing now. I think a lot of people wouldn't even realize now because it's so easy to release
So
that with
normal.
a label, you would have months in advance
Yeah.
scheduled, like 3 months or something. Um, yeah, it's just that's so not of this in this day and age because like sometimes you think out of nowhere like, oh, this track doesn't work right now,
Hmm.
or hey, this style works better for that month for whatever reason,
Yeah.
or there's a big festival coming up or a show, and then yeah, it's just
Actually,
it's nice.
makes me think about a conversation I had last week, as in releasing on like the bigger labels, not necessarily major labels, but the labels with some profound impact, I would say, isn't always what you expect it would be.
No,
Because especially lately, it feels like the whole trend is going, like we've talked about in the podcast before as well. It feels like we're more focused towards the depth, as in building real relationships
yeah,
with smaller groups of people over having a million followers on Instagram. And releasing on those bigger labels kind of leans more towards that old school way of releasing, as in,
yeah,
yes, you reach a lot of people, but those people will most likely never become a fan,
yeah,
so you have big numbers, but it doesn't say anything.
no,
And while releasing yourself and having lower numbers, it's more likely that the people who have listened to it are actual fans
yeah,
and who will come to your shows and buy your merch or whatever.
yeah,
So releasing, it was kind of interesting to me to kind of conclude on that, as in, even on that side of releasing with labels, it feels like it's not in connection anymore with where the world is going.
definitely. It's so outdated to
Yeah.
to plan that far ahead and to. I mean, obviously, you need some planning, but that's saying that also it contradicts it because you don't need a lot of planning. If the track's finished, I mean, you can make artworks in a heartbeat, literally,
Mm.
and you can make a press release in a heartbeat instantly. No one even cares about a press release, anyways,
No,
because it's always the same. Like J Hardway
so
with his uplifting things, but I mean,
uplifting
you need it to send
beats.
it out as a for promo services and stuff. So I use that. So you have this press release, which is all like you're just typing some bullshit quote
Yeah.
about a track. Not bullshit, but like just listen to the track and you'll understand. I think
Who
that's the
actually
nice
reads a
thing.
press release? Like
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, no
who
one,
does that?
no one, and it's like
No.
uplift with this uplifting energy and stuff and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Sometimes it's cool to read a little backstory about a track, like how it's made,
Yeah.
because I think if it's played on the radio or in a radio show, and so I guess radio curators or radio show curators would read it because it's like, hey, the new Tiesto, anything I can tell about that track. So it's like, oh, it was created in COVID or it was
Yeah.
created in a writing camp. That's the reason I could see
But
people
that's
reading it
more of a
for.
background story. But
Yeah,
on average, a press release is more about Jay
it's
Hardway
it's
with his
for the
uplifting beats.
yes. Well, you try to always yeah, but that's the bullshit that comes around it. But you
Yeah.
try to tell a little story. I do think story is very important, but it's mostly for the in the press release. It's mostly for the industry side, so the background, so the curators for the radio shows and stuff.
Mm.
Um, but having that story, I mean, it is still smart. I think storytelling is
Yeah.
good, but just you know what I mean with the press releases.
Yeah,
And
it's, oh man.
I don't know if you guys watching and listening have ever read an actual press release for tracks, but it's so much bullshit. And then there's like, oh, here's a quote from the artist themselves, and then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. That's fun.
Yeah,
But
it's,
story can make a track more interesting. You know,
story makes the track, as in the whole
mm,
storytelling.
I think the track
It has
makes
some,
the track,
yes, it
but
does, but the story kind of adds the sauce to it, as in
Yeah.
it's the same with art, you know,
Yeah.
like watching art, you can appreciate it.
Yeah.
Same with track, like
Mm-hmm.
with a track, like you can appreciate the track and you go, oh, I actually like this track. But if you hear the backstory about it,
Yeah.
it gets a different energy,
Yeah.
an extra layer to it.
For
And
sure.
I especially have this with songs like singer-songwriter songs, where it's mostly focused about the lyrics.
Yeah.
And then when you hear why they wrote the lyrics and who is it about,
Yeah.
and it's about my dad who was sick, and then you start to think like, oh shit,
Yeah.
this is a whole different level.
Yeah. And then
So
it can click more in your head, and
exactly,
then like
yeah.
if those two come
So
together,
it's a
then
combination of, first, do I like it?
yeah.
That's just subjective, you know, you either do or you don't.
Yeah.
That's just not something you can control. But the story is definitely adding a certain layer to the song,
Yeah.
which can convince people to check it, or become even much more of a bigger fan.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
And
Yeah. I think
it's in this when we don't have books here, but I'll just mention a book.
the bookshelf is gone.
Yeah, it's in the
It's in the
office,
other
but
office.
it's in a book which is called Same as Ever. And one of the things that never changes in the world, according to him, is that the best story wins.
Yeah.
Because we people learn and think in stories
Yeah. Yeah.
always.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing is
Mm-hmm.
storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the same with music.
Yeah.
Like if you
And
have a great
everything.
story,
But stories is what make us human. It's
yeah,
why we are different from other animals and species.
yeah.
We tell each other stories and we make up stuff and we romanticize and
Is that
we
how we remember things as well?
yeah.
If you want to remember something, create a story from
Look at
it.
the Bible.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. It's a
it's
story.
it's like a lot of stories that
Yeah,
represent something else. So it's like yeah.
exactly. No, but it's really I think it's something that for the listeners and watchers right now, it's definitely something you should think about.
Yeah.
What's the story you're telling about this song?
Yeah.
Is it just a song you created,
Yeah.
or is there a certain extra topic to
And I
it?
think also what is interesting to experiment with that whilst making the track. What is the
Yeah,
feeling you want to
the
have
emotion.
in songwriting? If you are with a team of songwriters in the same room, and you have a topic, something that lies really close to your heart, for example, then
Ralph
it's
calls. I'll just message him.
then it's
Yeah.
very interesting to um, to express that thought because it goes into the music, and also unknowingly you write your feelings into the chords, into the melodies, and the way you feel can actually impact how you write
Yeah.
music. So that can be interesting to be a bit more aware of that.
I think Ralph is for the gate.
Ralph is stuck at the gate, but then he can just get out the car and ring the doorbell at the
I don't think
neighbors.
there is a doorbell. I have to open it up, but it's with my phone, and that's the camera right now.
So he can't open it up.
No, he has to climb over the other fence.
Amazing. But songwriting, having a story with your song, can help. Definitely, I think.
It's
But
big. It's a big.
it's sometimes difficult in EDM when you have an instrumental track. But this is the thing: Animals, Martin Garrix. Why did it become such a big hit? This is very interesting, I think,
I
because
think.
first of all, it's a great track.
Yeah,
It
it was
was
it was new,
unique. It sounded
fresh.
different,
Yeah,
but it was a secret who made it.
yeah. Was it?
Yeah, they sent it out as like someone ID Animals. So everybody was like, "Who made it?" This made the whole mystery about this track. What this amazing track that
Hmm.
everybody's playing. Then it was Martin Garrix, who actually it's his birthday today. Happy birthday!
Yeah, somebody a bit three in the chat also mentioned it.
But it was a 15-year-old talent, and everybody was playing this track.
Yeah,
That made that track elevate even more. So
yeah,
it's like it just added to the already great track.
yeah.
So great, but I do think sometimes a great track on its own is not enough to become an actual worldwide hit.
No, you need the story.
Yeah,
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 it's always a narrative you kind of need.
definitely.
It's. We've talked about this last with the James Blunt track as well. Was the same thing. Like it's
Yeah,
it's a nice song, but then when I saw the clip with him and his father hearing about the story, I was like, "What the?"
yeah, yeah.
That hit me, you know. But when I
Mm-hmm.
first hit the song, I was like, it's okay."
Yeah,
Until you saw the clip, it's like, "Oof."
yep.
Oh, there he is.
Hey, here's
Lang zal ze
Ralph walking
leven.
in.
It was his birthday, by the way. You guys
Yeah,
can't
but
see
now
him.
there's
Maybe outside.
Garrick's birthday. Yeah, so
Yeah, there's water in the fridge. You have to turn on mic number 4, and then
and the camera running.
yeah,
Doe maar even ook
4.
voor het skew it up.
Yeah, that's it. And now you can
Leave the light.
No, leave that.
Leave it.
Take that mic. Take that mic.
That one.
That one. Yeah.
And do a little clap in front of this camera.
There we go.
That's
Can
you
everybody
doing, guys?
hear Ralph? You don't see
Oh,
him?
our light is now ruined.
Were you stuck at the gate?
Yeah, I didn't know which gate. I thought I'd first call and then see if I have to take the
Oh.
other one. But
Was it open?
yeah, it's open.
Ah, okay.
And
because
this
it was...
one not, but the other one is.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was closed. That's
No,
why.
and I came from that side now instead of that side because I came from Eindhoven City.
Eindhoven Airport. Nice.
So are we gossiping about some James Hype or?
No, that was next time.
That's
we were
were waiting for
wait.
you with that.
Yeah, we were waiting
Okay.
for you. Let's.
But we were talking about stories and how and a real hit can't be without a good story behind the track.
how
music.
storytelling impacts the song.
Yeah, for some. But
I don't
for
think
some,
there's I
yeah.
don't think there's a number one hit without a great story behind it. Like actual
Levels.
radio number one hit. Yeah, but that's the story of the prodigy that was
What was the story
Avicii.
of Levels? I don't know. I don't remember. I just remember hearing the song, thinking, "What the fuck?" It's a great
Avicii, who
song.
like the super talent from Sweden that
Yeah,
made
but
an
then
instrumental
everything
dance
has a
track.
story.
Yeah, but
But it's just he made a song and it blew up
the song was insane in that
because
case.
it's a really
Yeah,
good
but
song.
it showed his production skills, his songwriting skills.
Yeah, but was that also the narrative that the majority of the people would grab? You think, as a producer, that would be the story, but as a regular person,
Yeah, I don't know if did it become number one like worldwide on the actual top
I don't
40
know
and stuff.
actually.
So that's what I
think so.
mean. I think that it needs that story for
Okay.
a top 40 worldwide song, like Animals, like BBC. Maybe UK number one is probably the world's leading,
Hmm.
or is that wrong
what's
of
the
me?
story behind Animals?
Yeah, that's
The child prodigy Martin Garrix, who from his attic at his parents
Yeah,
made
but
this
then behind
worldwide
every track,
hit.
there's I mean, Mush Mush, prodigy himself from Waalwijk.
Yeah, but that's not a 15-year-old who people didn't know who the track was from. So it's like
he was 16, but yeah, but every track has something. Is it really? Does it matter that he was 16 or
yeah,
not?
I think
And,
it
I
definitely
think that
matters
did
for
matter.
that
As
story.
in, I'm not. I don't recall, but if it was a mystery who made it, and it
Yeah.
happened to be this young kid, like that would blow people's minds. I would get that.
That is what happened.
Yeah. I can see why that would be a story for radio people, like telling that story. It's interesting to tell, right? It's something new.
most definitely interesting to tell. I think Martin Garrix, besides that, he's, I think, in my opinion, a musical genius, but he was one of first of many young producers because technology actually allowed it that young people
Yeah.
could enter into this world because you now see it quite some more, but the novelty has worn off, of course, because the first
He was one of the
movers.
first.
Yeah, he was one of those first.
Yeah.
Actually, yet also Julian Jordan.
Erik Arbores.
Who?
Erik
Arbores.
Erik Arbores.
Oh, Erik Arbores, yeah. Erik
But
Arbores, he
there
was
were
very-
many. Actually, Kirby was one of them back in the
Yeah.
in the days. And actually, I also can remember that Spin-In was more favorable towards Julian Jordan because he had a big hit with Son of Van Doorn,
Yeah.
Kangaroo.
Oh yeah, King.
And that was a big record.
But also,
Yeah.
Julian had the story of being his track was stolen and uploaded to Beatport, and then it became like a Beatport top 10 or whatever.
Oh really?
And then Spinning found out, so they invited him over, and then Julian Jordan is like the next talent,
Oh, I never heard.
and
that
then
song.
Martin Garrix became the next talent.
Yeah,
so
yeah, because Martin Garrix
yeah.
just made an even better track called Animals.
Yeah.
And also because I'm also not sure, but I always understood that marketing Animals as being just animals was because it was or else it was interfering with a track of Martin coming out with TV noise.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
So it
but I'm
wasn't.
not
It
sure.
wasn't
That's
even legit.
also a story.
Well, what I remember is that.
That it wasn't like a conscious decision.
To name
Yeah,
it
Oh.
or it
animals.
just in a brainstorm because he had a track coming out with TV noise as well around that
Ah.
period, and then Animals was made, and he also wanted it to be out fast because there was movement around it. A lot of people started playing
Yeah,
it,
Yeah.
true.
and
Yeah.
you didn't want to wait too long.
Yeah.
And then they put it online as being
ID
one of the
animals.
persons at Spinner said, "Well, we'll just put it online as Animals then."
Mm.
Kinda, yeah. So it's always these coincidences happening and all that
Yeah, it's a bit
stuff.
of coincidence, but then I do
Yeah.
think they caught on to the fact that people were guessing,
Hey,
so they kept
that
it
was
rolling a bit longer.
in hindsight genius
Yeah,
move. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
true.
For sure, it was
But I'm not
nice.
sure if it was
The
being
conscious,
conscious
but
as
you
yeah.
that's I think sometimes the luck you need. That's a
Definitely,
bit of
yeah. But
luck.
in
Like,
the end, you just need good music. And
yeah,
if I'm pretty sure if somebody who was older made that track, it would also
Would still be.
do really
I
well.
don't think it would have been that
Well, the
big of
track
a number
itself,
one.
but it wouldn't catapult another person's career as it did Martin's.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Martin just, beside he was young, I think we discussed it before. He has that X factor.
yeah.
He's
Mm.
just also really likable.
But
He's a down to earth
That
guy
matters
and
for what the
really
track
talented.
does
Huh?
in the charts. I think it matters for what the track does eventually.
Yeah, maybe it
Because
does. Give us a
I do
longer
think
lifespan. Yeah.
it's like when someone has an alias and then you listen to that, like Martin has White Tram, and then it's like deeper stuff, but I still listen to it like, oh, that's Martin.
No.
And if you don't have that, it's you
Oh,
listen
you
to it
wouldn't
with a
even listen
different,
to it. Yeah.
yeah, or different. You would still think, oh, that's Martin making that kind of music.
I actually think if it would if you wouldn't know the name, you would just click delete in the spam box.
It depends on the
Yeah.
track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the beef.
Beef. We have an
Oh,
actual
beef.
EDM beef on our hands.
Yeah, we have an
Finally.
actual beef at the moment, like Deadmau5 versus James Hype beef.
Yeah, amazing.
Are you guys following it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not really. But, you guys showed it in our WhatsApp group, and I checked it out. It made me laugh really hard.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny as hell.
Funny,
It's just funny, but I think Deadmau5 gave an interview at some point some while ago about if your visuals are synced perfectly, then it's not live, it's pre-recorded. That's his it's something like that he said, and it's been taken out of context
He's
here and
probably
there.
gonna grab you again.
Yeah, no, but like something like that. I mean, it was a normal statement. It wasn't anything really wrong with it. And then James Hype has his new sync show. James Hype and their team being very smart, they're like, hey, let's call out Deadmau5 because that generates some attention. So he made like visuals syncing to the buttons, which is his sync show. It's what it's all about, with Deadmau5 logo and saying like, Deadmau5 says that if it isn't live, it isn't live when it's synced.
Yeah.
Well, this is all really live. And Deadmau5 got back very fast to that, using a CDJ, and he programmed like on the Q button, it's not that hard. And like as you press it, you see it on the screen. And then really it isn't on the play button. And that was like his jokingly saying, like, dude, it's not that special what you do.
Yeah.
Which I thought is really funny because it's typical Deadmau5 to like actually get triggered by James Hype.
Taking the effort to
because
actually.
yeah, because I think it's a genius concept what James Hype done. It's not maybe it's not hard to program at all, but that's not the point.
No.
That's not what it's about. So that's why it's funny that Deadmau5 then kind of overreacts, but Deadmau5 also gets that humor. So it's like the perfect beef because I don't think they hate each other or anything. And then Deadmau5 shows that he's programming the CDJ to play Elden Ring on it. It's like really working
As a controller.
He has a controller, and he's like,
That's funny.
I'm gonna make the turntable actually steer the thing or roll, and it's like and now he's going through, and he's really want to beat like the
guy. It's insane.
It's so
Knows
funny.
a lot.
Man. It's so funny.
Yeah, but it's
But
fun
it comes to
see.
show that actually there's this show being marketed, and whilst the idea is actually Simple for 2
Yeah,
records.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's I think it's a genius idea, which is it is simple and probably simple to program. I do think there is a bit of latency, like lag
Yeah, you could
when
see
James
it.
Hype presses
Yeah.
the button,
mm,
and that's some actual like feedback from that mouse. Also, like, hey, use these gears, like in the comments somewhere. But I think that's something they should fix.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
maybe
that's
for the crowd it doesn't matter, but it did annoy me as well a little bit. And I saw a reel where they're like sound checking for a show, and then you see also like there's just that bit of
Little
like
Did I
delay.
also share that video about James Hype? Somebody taking a shot at him that they changed the words of what he was pressing,
No.
like dick cock, dick cock.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that one.
It's at OC Beats or so. That's this guy who's like been
Yeah.
mocking the kind of music guys forever.
Ah,
Okay, yeah, I don't know if
It's a
James Hype is gonna be the new mocking guy, and that's not a perfect position to be in. And although, yeah, I kind of respect him as an artist. I think also what he does is
yeah, he's doing
just
great.
puts himself out there, which makes you an easy target as well.
But that's why it's so smart with the deadmau5 thing. He knows they knew exactly what they
he's
were
gonna
doing. This is like
react.
more than they could have hoped for.
Yeah.
Turns out really funny. And then deadmau5 even in a later video, because deadmau5 then gets nerd mode into it, and he's programming like James Hype sounds playing while he's pressing some buttons in the game. So the thing is rolling. He's like, DJ, hit that shit. DJ, DJ. And the character's like, it's all on
that's
deadmau5's Instagram. So it's like, yeah,
Nice.
it's the perfect
Funny.
beef.
Okay.
Well, it should be about music though, but yeah, this is also live.
Valid point actually against James Hype,
What
isn't
do you
it?
mean?
Well, it's if you say it should be about music, I think like I do think
he has a good track.
he has good tracks, and I like the live show idea. I do think, for me personally, it is a bit too much. Like, look what I'm actually doing, and I would be like, very respect like for your skills, but as a crowd member, I wouldn't care. So maybe with the visuals makes it that I care more, but I think just
Yeah.
let the music do its thing. But that's
What I do like is that he's bringing
personal
back
taste, I guess.
attention to the DJ skill, as in I think that has been lacking for the past few years. That most people don't really
Yeah,
appreciate it anymore, and he's bringing a lot of attention back to how it's pretty much
You're
his
looking at
Yeah,
the
but-
wrong genre.
but DJing for me,
Yeah, in the hard techno, there's a lot of really, really skilled DJs, like really skilled.
and also show it as in online and stuff.
Oh, they don't brag about it, but they do it. It's
Yeah.
like,
but that's-
it's like normal.
But that's what James Hype does, as in he's
Yeah.
building a brand around it. So
I know.
But
like,
I think-
Luke
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
for me, DJing isn't about like look. I can like scratching and stuff. For me, is like not. Of course, it's DJing, but it's not for me interesting. And like cues with
Yeah.
words. But what Ralph says is actually true. It's I think way more subtle the skills in other scenes, or like Chris Stussy,
It's a little bit
how he
more,
mixes
more
over,
creative than
yeah, setting
just
setting loops and
making a set.
yeah.
Actually altering the songs and their intention.
It's more like a live set.
No, it's just really more creative DJing.
Okay.
Less lazy. It's not about picking your songs. It's also about bringing the songs.
Mhm.
And also, how can you bring a song differently than, okay, if you don't use a little bit of trickage, you can only bring it differently because the
Timing.
track before there, that is different, or the timing. That's like baking with only salt and pepper. But they just use a whole spectrum of herbs, and they can, with their loops and all that kind of shit, they can just really alter.
Okay.
Yeah.
They actually use the 8-bar, loop it, and loop it, and make a build out of it.
Yeah.
And then actually your first beats of a track, which were never intended as being a drop, can be a drop all of a sudden.
Yeah, so you
And I-
rebuild the
That's
track.
really like altering the
Yeah. And the good
purpose of a
the
track.
good ones do it subtle, so that if you're in
Yeah.
a crowd, you actually feel like dancing. And I always feel like the with the good ones, you don't hear the transitions that much
Mhm.
in a good way, but there is tension build up.
Yeah.
Yours Vorn is a very good example.
Yeah, he's great.
And he's like has his Ableton, he has CDJs, and then he has controllers for Ableton, and then he basically recreates a track.
Yeah.
Which is you should watch his sets.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sometimes he plays like tracks that aren't even like release tracks because it's a project he's working on,
Yeah.
and that's like it's awesome to see him
Yeah.
DJ. Yeah, it's really
Okay.
cool. So
Let's continue.
Community questions.
already,
Normally,
Already,
I
we're
hear that
already.
very hard.
Yeah,
When it's
exactly.
soft, it's actually
It's
like
nice.
mediocre, man.
Yeah, no, you need to have blasted the
that's
ears.
the trick. That's
Yeah.
why it's so good.
It's
just
volume.
blasted in
It's
your
volume.
face.
The
No, it's
compression.
community questions. As always, we take on questions from the community in our Discord. People can send in questions throughout the week, which we will answer in the podcast episode.
I have a question.
Yeah?
Do you actually hear compression?
Where?
That's a joke.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a meme the last few weeks. Like
Oh, yeah, I saw.
DJs, producers
You know,
pretending
when
to hear a compression is
So
one of the
they sit
things.
there like,
Pretending to hear compression.
whenever I'm with Rens in the studio and we listen to tracks and I just load them in FL Studio and I still have that limiter on, he can always tell. I think that's so,
It's talent.
man.
Yeah.
I because it's basically off, you know.
Yeah.
here's a
crazy.
question.
There's a little bit, yeah.
Here's a question from Israel Carter for both of you. When you get asked to do a remix for a big artist like Armin van Buuren or Dimitri Vegas and like Mike, is it always guaranteed that you will get a release? Has there been a time where you made a remix that you were really happy with, but it got rejected by the artist or label? And what did you end up doing? Were you allowed to release it on your
Oh
own platform?
man, funny story. I made a remix of a track for Steve Aoki, and he actually said it's not that cool, man. or it just got actually
know
it
that
wasn't
track.
Steve
I know that
saying
track.
it, but it was his team or there was an email was not approved. So I took that drop to a good friend of mine called Hardway, and I showed him like, man,
second
there's
choice.
something in there. You're
Definitely.
good at making breaks. Can you think of something? And that's how mariachi is born.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
El
then
Mariachi.
Steve Aoki started playing mariachi. Also funny.
That's a funny
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
So it does happen. You do get rejected.
Definitely.
For
A lot of
making
the
remixes.
times.
Yeah.
Rejection is part of the game.
Big
But
part
then
of the game.
he right away has the best solution, which is always good to, if you're beginning to accept a lot of remix requests, because you make something that you'll be able to use maybe if you don't use the exact melodies and stems from the original. So that's another tip right away. Like,
Yeah. True.
Man, that
I never play
track
that
is
break. I
golden.
do play the drop.
Yeah?
Yep.
We have another big donation coming in from the main man, Melodramatic. 50
Dude.
bucks.
Whoa,
50 bucks. Coffee questions.
we got cake already, dude.
We got cake. We actually have cake for your birthday.
Also,
Oh.
please tell us how to collect that money. because we-
No, I got an email last week. We
Oh.
were trying to find out how to collect the money from YouTube because we couldn't find,
find it.
Like it's nowhere. I still can't find it. And now last week I got an email from YouTube that I had to identify to claim the
Be
money.
eligible
So I'm in the
for,
process now. But thanks for donating again.
They make it so hard
Oh,
to
man.
make it like insightful. It's just
It's
a big maze.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah,
I showed
yeah.
you guys the back end, how that like
Yeah.
insane. How hard can it be to collect money? Like it's
How hard
Well,
can
they're
all
trying to
that
make it
stuff
harder.
be, man? It's just like YouTube Studio, but also the whole the
AdSense,
ads,
Google.
Well, but
the ads of
Google-
Facebook, Instagram, they're also it's
Insane.
insanely.
It's two things. They don't want it to be too easy, I think. But
Yeah.
also Google, I think that's just me personally, is bad at layouts and stuff.
Dude,
And like,
I have Google Nest, the camera system. It's the worst.
yeah, they just don't get it.
I love Ring so much.
It's
better.
like the
Yeah.
opposite from Apple, where
Yeah.
one guy with vision realized
Yeah,
humans
Google
don't want to
makes a- makes a
think
car,
about.
Don't
Oh no, don't buy
drive
it.
it
No, no, no.
because you'll
No, it's
Yeah.
think
complex.
you go in front, but you go
Yeah.
backwards.
Yeah, you go like this.
Yeah,
Whoa!
hey,
I actually
oh.
saw a great a YouTube video from John Ivy last week about this, the design of Apple and the whole theory behind it. That's the designer of Apple, the one who created the iPhone and stuff, like, or at least the software. Super interesting how that guy thinks. As in, he
Is
always
he really lazy, and then
no, he always thought like he wanted people to have an emotion that when people open up an Apple package, like the box, that there's an emotion connected to it, that you can feel somebody has spent time and value to bring you that thing. And that's what actually, if I still today, I feel like if you buy an iPhone or a MacBook, just the packaging itself, it's like it's enjoying to open
It's
it.
That's nice, but I think the genius of Apple and Steve Jobs was that he realized, as a human, you don't want to think, what should I do,
I
but you
should
would,
feel,
what would my
yeah,
Intuition.
gut feeling
yeah,
tell me to do, and that's what,
yeah,
and that's brilliant with
yeah. It's
devices.
like
And
how a baby
still,
thinks.
yeah, and still, it's super hard for companies to have that with the designers, the engineers,
Yeah,
to have that
Yeah. To be
communication.
honest, that's
Super hard.
all I'm going for, man. I cannot even. A phone is a phone. It's such an uninteresting object. The
yeah,
only thing which counts for me is the camera, and the rest I
dude.
couldn't care less.
This is where I go bad with TikTok. If you dive into the back end of TikTok, oh, so many options. Like, what?
Paw!
How hard is
Oh
it?
man,
No, but really, like, if you look at this, like,
that's an old man.
Is that, the meme of the tractor? Paw, nummer 6.
exactly.
Oh, met 2 Met 2 Hoe kun je nou besturen? Dutch
Dutch
memes.
meme. Yeah.
You don't know that one,
Anyway,
Ralph?
next
I don't know that one. But
next
yeah.
question from Jelly Boner. What are your top 5 mixing tips you've learned over the years? And you do have some tips to create separation between all elements. When I listen to tracks by Cashmere, Hardwell, etc., you can really focus on each separate element while listening if you want to. So how do you mix your elements properly? Mixing tips.
I'd say less is more.
Good one.
And per element, listen to that element and listen what of that element do you need in your track. I think those are 2 things that I usually check. But less is more is one of my things, that if I add a hi-hat, it has to be a good hi-hat. It has to be the right hi-hat. Yeah, but like that sounds dumb. But
That's
like
true.
people just throw stuff in, or
Sample
like,
selection is essential. Like,
yeah, it's
yeah,
it's like, why
it's
would you
true.
add something? It really has to add something. You know what I mean? So otherwise,
I just have to laugh because of a comment from Ham and Cheese Toasty, 2 guys and 1 mic. Yeah, I don't know. I just had to laugh. Yeah,
2 guys, 1 mic.
yeah. I'm not even
Yeah,
going into
there's
it.
no mic here. What's your name, Mike?
Here's a question from Mikey Foden.
Hey, Mike.
Mike,
that Mike?
exactly.
There's the mic. Yeah.
If you had to start over today, what would you tell yourself as advice? You had to start over today.
Run.
Don't do it.
Run and hide.
It's actually what Armin van Buuren said in that interview in Dutch.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't recommend my son to become a DJ, but that's a different
Oh
topic.
yeah, that. Yeah, yeah.
It's a different topic.
Yeah.
But what would you tell yourself? Consistency. I would be way more consistent. I really underestimated being consistent as an artist. I was way too much all over the place.
I would tell myself, you are right. So don't listen to what the label people and managers try to tell you. You are right. Because I think I would have pushed harder for stuff. And I think I kind of buckled for the pressure of all their big label people.
Yeah.
So you are right. You as an artist know your
You
vision.
are right. I see you
No, but
standing in front of me. You are.
You as an artist
You are
know
right.
your
Yeah.
vision.
Come on.
You as an artist know
You
your
are
vision.
right.
I would
They
have
are
I would have
wrong.
told myself that, I think. Yeah.
Okay. It's a self
And
motivation.
start golfing already. So those are the 2.
Actually, wouldn't know. But it's just important to keep on learning, keep on working, and don't go golfing too much.
More.
No, but it's yeah. I kind of do believe in the relative game. It's you have a lot of competition. When you see chances, go for them. Don't underestimate the momentum. And when you have
True.
that momentum, you work your ass off and
But
make
is that
something out of it.
is that something you didn't do?
I think yeah, we kind of lost momentum on times. I think we could have gotten a lot more out of our careers. We kind of underestimated how big we were at times, and kind of was one of our strong suits because we always knew the success wasn't mainly due to what we did, but we were riding a wave. On the other hand, we were riding that wave, and we were a big component of that. We kind of underestimated that also. I mean, if you we never started our own label, kind of regret that. our merch lines. We never put as much effort in that as we should
Yeah,
have,
yeah, 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 yeah.
because we also had a good thing going on there. And yeah, those are chances we missed. Also because we were a little bit too shy, a little bit too modest,
Hmm.
maybe. And yeah, yes, I would have done things differently now. But I think that's one of the things when you have momentum, man, go full turbo,
Yeah.
fuck all the rest,
It's
and
it's
go
part
for
of
it.
it's part of what I mean, because that I felt like industry people, and especially in Holland, that's just my experience. They always try to make it a bit smaller than it is, and I feel like like you said, that wave of EDM, it was huge
Mm.
worldwide.
Well,
Dutch DJs, but like EDM DJs were booked like on the biggest stages
Yeah.
yeah,
everywhere,
yeah.
and like we should have, I think, yeah,
We were as a
realize
people,
that more.
we are really modest. If I
Yeah,
see guys like James Hype or Gordo, he's like the maestro of it. He just acts out, man. He
yeah,
portrays himself as being the biggest star, and it works. I actually think it's really entertaining. Also, the way he performs, he stands there, and maybe he also believes it, but and it works. It's really cool.
yeah,
And I think that's us Dutchies. Look at what Armin says and how he is. Even Tiesto, and he got a little bit more of a stardom in him
yeah,
now. But
yeah.
and look at Martin Garrix being in Amsterdam on a boat with his father on a Sunday, just chilling.
Yeah.
That's something I don't see everywhere else.
No.
And
Tiesto is one of
yeah,
the few that understood
Yeah.
it.
He
Like
doesn't
the
live in
the
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 Netherlands
I'm Mr.
anymore.
Vegas, and I'm
He
like,
doesn't live here anymore,
no,
right?
I don't think so.
Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, but
maybe
it's
to
it's
go
it's
into
our,
that culture. But also
Yeah.
Tiesto, he's like a really down to earth
yeah,
guy.
but it's
Yeah,
partly our strength that we're very humble.
yeah.
But sometimes I notice that it can really make things a bit, yeah, it's all not that important and it's not that
Mm.
big. And I think if you look at like yeah, Gordo or Snake is
Yeah,
one
or
of the
Yellow
like,
Yeah.
Claw. Maybe it was
woo,
kind of
yeah,
Yellow
yeah. They
Claw.
also
yeah,
so believed in themselves, and rightfully so.
yeah,
I mean, they made big waves with Amsterdam Trap, and
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
also
True.
the whole merch line. What was it again? With the blood for mercy.
Blood for
yeah.
Mercy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question from Labi. When you're stuck on a track, what's your go-to method to move forward or break through a block?
I would listen to other tracks, see how they have a solution for the problem you're in. And if it's sometimes you just cannot see where a track needs to go, but certain tracks they do something. I was actually stuck day before yesterday on a track, and then I heard another person having his kick bass like really in a filter, and so it goes, and I thought, dude, that's that just sparked
Mm.
something for me. Then I could go on.
So listen to other
Yeah, it
tracks.
works for me, and just start to be inspired. Copy. Hey, that's also a thin line.
Gray area.
Yeah.
Okay. And for you?
Yeah, stuck is partly an illusion. It's usually it's like that barrier that you like just keep going.
Mhm.
But listening to other stuff can help. Sometimes it helps to start a new project. But don't do that too often, because then you're not going to finish anything.
Mm.
But even if you have a little loop, just make it into an arrangement, and it can be as simple as, this is the drop, so I put the kick and the lead there. Maybe that's all you have. Put the kick there, no kick there, because then you have like
Yeah.
the direction of, and then you're gonna fill in things anyways. Oh, I might add a little white noise there, or like transition stuff.
Mm. It's like a
That can
painting.
help, but don't think you're stuck too much. Like, oh no, I'm so stuck. No, just change an element,
Yeah.
add an
But it's
element.
hard to finish a track, and it comes
Yeah,
also with time. You also need to look at it this way: the more you work on music, the more sounds you know. So the more synths and everything, you get more ideas. It makes you way more creative when your database of doing things
yeah,
and searching for sounds or creating
Mhm.
yeah,
things is bigger. It's like a language. Yeah, if you know a lot of words, it's going to be easier to make sentences.
yeah.
A question
and to
for
express
Ralph.
yourself, which is the main goal of a language
Of
Exactly,
music.
and also
communication.
music. Yeah.
Question for Ralph. What's the best approach you've seen from a younger artist who wanted to genuinely connect and collaborate with you?
Also, the younger it doesn't matter. Yeah, it starts with good music and good ideas, and just send it out. There's nothing else you can do, and nothing will change. The bigger you get, your network will be a little bit bigger, but still, you want to.
They will still leave you on red.
No, but yeah, hey, it's actually a fine example that
Yeah, it's true.
happens. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
you
we,
send a track out to Armin. Yeah, I mean, the guy's busy enough.
yeah,
If he listens to it and doesn't like it, why should he take the
yeah.
time to send something back?
Yeah, we've talked about it when you weren't here. Like it's still about the music, as in it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. It's still about the
yeah.
music, even
Yeah.
though you're at a bigger level.
Yeah.
Maybe
Of course, but your network will grow.
I
Yeah,
it
mean,
and
becomes easier.
yeah,
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 and
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
and try
But
to work with peers. And we said it many times before. Like the artist coaching Discord has a lot of people, like-minded people who also do music. Will always be good, and you never know what kind of a network they have,
Hmm.
and combine it and see if you can grow
yeah,
together.
or what energy you can get out of someone
Yeah.
else and work
Yeah.
together on the next big hit.
Here's a question for both of you. What's one business or branding move you wish you made earlier in your career?
Ralph just said the merch, which I think was a thing we could have got more out of, especially maybe in the US when
Yeah.
touring there. Um, a stylist, probably.
A stylist?
Yeah, if I look back at like, I was just like, oh, just put on a black T-shirt, and I have no sense for fashion at all. So it's
I
like,
can tell.
yeah, exactly. But I think actually a stylist would have
Interesting.
just not that I want to look like something I'm not, but would have represented me more. Just to have more people maybe look into who's Jobke.
Mm.
How can
Yeah,
we bring that to the outside? I think that's something that maybe still I should do now more.
In press
But
pictures and stuff.
social media,
yeah,
just in general, just hey, I want to show who I am and not like.
Yeah.
But it was also social media was coming up, so that's also something that I now see. But then it was
Yeah.
like, oh, I have a big crowd. I need the picture with this, like this to the camera with the big crowd behind. And it would get a lot of likes. But if I already then was like, hey, and there are some guys who, like Julian Jordan is one example of who already was so like putting himself as a brand,
Mm-hmm.
which I always think is, and Yellow Claw is a good example.
Don Diablo, maybe.
Don Diablo,
Yeah.
100%.
yeah, he's a big marketing guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that I don't want to be fake and hey, clothing that I wouldn't wear, but I wanted to
That's the
show
thing
more
about
like this is
marketing.
me.
It kind of feels fake-ish, but it's not. It's also
It
hard
can
to.
be.
I mean, the clothes I wear don't make say maybe really express how I am, or maybe not even make that translation from what I have in my head, how I want to portray myself,
Mhm.
because I just don't know about fashion. And then when somebody who knows about fashion comes into play, they can actually make me express me
Yeah.
way
Better.
better than I could myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very good
Yeah,
tip,
it's
and also
interesting.
that comes from that modesty we have, and it also has that kind of charm. I mean, I am who I am, and it's about the music, but yeah, we now know there's way more to it than only that,
Yeah, true.
and there can be so much more in us that we just don't know. So when you get the chance, and it will be at a path down the road, then just get some professionals in there and see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe it's shit that you just spend a lot of money on nothing. Fuck it.
Yeah, but that's always a risk. You never know how an
Yeah.
investment could go. It's true. Here's a question from Mr. Josh. A few months ago,
Josh,
Ralph suggested for me to get some merch to give out to my shows in Asia. I'm going back in July for more shows, so I wanted to get organized and do that this time around. What merch do you think I should take with me? Because I don't want to do t-shirts because they can be expensive and the quality seems kind of shit from previous experiences. And also the sizes of the t-shirts might be different.
Depends. If you get the Gildan shirts, I actually really like the fit also. And Gildan, that's Gildan. I don't have stocks, but I'm gonna buy some now. No,
Because after this episode,
No, we always used it, and I really like those shirts. I used to wear them so much, and
But
I
is
still
is
like it.
t-shirts the first thing you would do? But it's also quite a big
You know,
investment.
you want it to be visible. I mean, caps are an easy one. You can bring loads of them in your suitcase and then take them with you. So if you do it at home, I mean, you're not gonna make 1,000 of them, although we did. Still have them from 5 years ago, and makes it cheaper
Yeah,
per piece. But it's kind of not how you should. But if you would do the production at home, you can have a little bit more of quality control,
true.
and you need to see who am I gonna hand it out to? Is it the people who are there, the visitors, or the people at the organization? I mean, the sound guy, you can give him a T-shirt; he'll be happy. You give him a cap,
Mm.
or her, of course. And the hospitality girls, they like a nice crop top, maybe, and the organizers, everybody likes some
Yeah.
free shit.
I'm
to
actually
get just from
wearing merch now that I'm thinking about it. I got this yesterday from a client.
Nice.
actually
Merch.
looks nice.
It's a nice piece on the back. I'll show
Yeah.
you later, but it's really nice.
I
It's
like. I
nice
do like
quality.
that shirt.
Yeah, it's
so,
nice
I
quality.
also
yeah.
do
Yeah.
like it. To be honest, it's so unlike you. Actually
But
looks nice.
Ralph, this is the new me.
Hey,
This is the new
Well, a
me.
compliment from me.
Street
then.
Joey. Street
merch. I used to have. Well, stickers are always a good thing because
Stickers, yeah.
they
Yeah,
always
that's
go
cool.
in
Yeah.
the backstage room or
And take the
just
ones
somewhere.
you can't get off.
Yeah, never.
Yeah.
So they
And
have to
also
like.
can spark some
Yeah.
irritation.
Yeah.
what?
Exactly.
I used to have wristbands that would like be one of those things where you could close it and then you couldn't really get off anymore, but
Mhm.
with my logo around it. But that was actually really cool because it's something that at a show people then like to wear. They then
Exactly.
see your name. They probably wear it in the night. They
Yeah.
probably cut it off the next day, but that could they see your name, so they might, if they really liked your set, they will check out the thing. Can be confusing because sometimes, like, I had my manager who would hand them out in the crowd, and people thought like, "Oh, this is like a backstage band."
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean, that's
I actually had
good
something
times.
like that, but I still like the idea of it. A friend of mine came up with this. Do you remember those wristbands that just
Yeah,
clip,
yeah,
like
yeah. Mhm.
those sticks that you clip around?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called, but
They slap around your wrist.
yeah, like slap
yeah,
wristbands.
yeah.
And we've made them in fluoristic yellow, as in like super bright with my logo on it. And it was funny because you handed it out in the club, people were putting their hands up like this, so all the pictures people had like fluor yellow wristbands on, and also felt kind of expensive.
Yeah,
So it
yeah, yeah,
didn't
yeah.
felt like you wanted to throw it away.
Yeah.
You know, it's not
I
like
can
a paper
imagine.
thing or
They
something.
they feel cool and they're cool to fidget
Exactly.
around with.
Yeah, like
so.
just play. I still have a few of them at the office, but that was a low investment thing. Like those things cost, I don't know, 10 cents a piece.
Like, comment, and subscribe. You might win one.
Yeah, exactly. I can send one.
We also had these these glasses with has
Yeah, with the
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
The red
the
ones.
logo on it,
yeah, true.
and they actually were awesome as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's I would look for because it's very early for Josh, and I can imagine you don't want to spend too much money. So I think clothing can be an expensive
Wristband.
one.
Those wristbands.
Yeah,
were
wristbands,
nice. And you
like-
can pack like hundreds. in,
Exactly.
like,
Yeah, exactly.
But also, just quick tip: check per country how strict they are with
Yep.
customs.
I came in with this
Um,
bag of metal. They were like,
yeah.
"What the hell are you?"
You need to have either just check if you can just bring it, or like have some explanation ready that it's not
Yeah.
for selling. Because if you
Yeah,
go
if
with a
you're-
lot of
if you're-
t-shirts,
If you're traveling on a tourist visa, that's gonna be.
Yeah, you have to
so
really-
you have
yeah.
100 of the same T-shirts.
Uh-huh.
yeah, with a
you're
logo,
here 5 days.
yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah.
they will check, and you don't want to ever lie. So just have the real story ready. So
Yeah,
just
but
so you
if all
know,
the documentation is sorted, and you don't even have to get certain documentation for the T-shirts
True.
themselves.
Yeah. if they're not for
Just- yeah.
selling,
And you're not
usually,
gonna bring 100 T-shirts, but you can bring 50 caps,
yeah,
20 T-shirts, and that kind of shit. And if you have all those little wristbands, that would just be cool. And
Yeah,
so-
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, or the card shit with the photos, and you can have the autograph on it.
Yeah, and some countries are just more strict with those things. So just chat GPT it or Google it, and you will find out about the
I bet you
country.
can be really creative with bringing
Yeah.
certain merch that we cannot think of.
Just
ourselves.
if you have
You
a
even
lot
have
of
those
risk, if you have a
tattoos
lot
as
of
well. those old school tattoos
Oh,
that
you
you
can
can make.
stick on.
Yeah, with
Real
water.
Content.
tattoos.
Yeah, with those water, you can just
For
put
the
them on.
wristbands, if at customs they ask, it's too much wristbands, just show them a picture of La Fuente, and it's
Not
so
too
they will be
much.
like, oh well,
Oh, it
Oh
fits.
okay.
yeah. Well, he has like 300. Yeah.
Okay, guys, last question because we're already at 1 hour.
Oh,
Question from Alex Ray. First, I wanted to say happy birthday, Ralph.
Gracias.
So I'm 17 years old and I have been offered a 5-figure publishing deal for 4 years for 25% of my publishing. And on top of that, they offered about master's deal of 2K marketing and a bit of recording budget. I'm really scared to take it because I know there's probably much better deals, but I don't have a manager or anything to help me get more deals.
I'm not sure if the 25% is such a good deal.
25% of his publishing.
they take
Of-
25%.
Oh,
I think
Okay.
so.
That's not even so.
That's
That's
pretty good, I think.
I've been
perfectly
offered
fine.
a 5-figure publishing deal for 4 years for 25%
But is it
of my publishing.
is it 99,000 or is it
Yeah, that's
10,000? I
Yeah,
mean,
I
that's a
don't
huge
know, yeah.
difference
Huge
because
difference.
I think that's
No, but to be honest, it doesn't sound like a really weird thing.
I do have
4
offers.
years, that's kind of usual. Usually it's 3, but
Yeah.
also fine. The thing is also with a publishing deal, if you focus on, okay, you bring away 25% for them to collect it
Mhm.
and maybe arrange some
Songwriter camps or something.
songwriting camps. I mean, it's not going to be an administrative deal, I guess,
Yeah.
for that amount. 25% is not that bad.
Yeah.
And if you do more than the 10,000 is, you're going to renegotiate your deal because you also always want to get a little bit of an advance.
Yep.
So they have to run for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
have
because
to
they want to
make their
earn
money
that
back.
back. So
Yeah.
they,
You have
for
to
sure.
work for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
But
just check
yeah.
how much you really need. If you really need the money, then that you should think about that as well. You don't want to take too much that it's going to be too hard to get it back, because then after the 4 years they might just check also the things in the contract about
Yeah.
them being able to extend or not.
Yeah.
Usually it is so that is if you haven't like recouped the whole advance, yeah, you're stuck there.
Mhm.
They can advance usually for sometimes they have something like they can then advance it for, or like extend it for a year and then look again. Just make sure to have those things. What if the
Yeah,
what if
exactly.
things, have them clear
So
in the
you're not
contract.
stuck for life.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because
And
also that you don't, if you like earn it all back, you still want to be able to have a new negotiation.
Yeah.
Because they could say, if you earn it all back, we just extend it for another of the same. No, you want new
New
negotiations
sets, yeah.
always. There's a lot of stuff like
Okay.
that you need to
then go to the BMW dealer and get a nice BMW.
spend all your
Hell
money
yeah.
at once.
Everything all
Yeah.
at once. Yeah.
That's one thing I should have done different. If you make 10,000, spend 9,000, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy
Spend
those golf clubs.
20,000. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're all gonna die. Without, I don't need money in my casket.
Any
Exactly.
any shilling? Any you have a release upcoming?
30 May.
30th
Yeah,
of May, which
but
is actually
Chopsticks
cool.
is still out for 2 weeks. It's been going well, like any old release of mine. So
Cool.
check out my songs, stream them, because it's independent, so I can use every in the penny.
In the penny.
Wow.
Help me make my mortgage.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. What about
Yeah,
you?
I mean, we have loads coming up, and it's hard to pinpoint one of them. I do have to mention our Wiggle Wiggle remake. It's not going that well on SoundCloud. I mean, Hardwell has played it in his latest radio show, but apparently a lot of the listeners are sleeping on it. So wake the fuck up! And
Yeah.
now it's also coming out on Spotify eventually, because we now are in the process of getting that done,
Mm.
new vocals and all the stuff. I actually we were releasing every 3 weeks a track. We kind of loosened that vibe because it was just too much.
What is it
Couldn't
now?
focus.
4?
Now 4 or maybe sometimes even 5, but 4 is like the
Yeah.
median now. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up. Yeah, too hard to mention. I think Rewind is the first one to go, and that's a really special one. It's a new wave tracks, and we're gonna also, hey, novelty. We're gonna bundle all the new wave tracks that are a little bit different than we always used to in a mini album.
Okay. Why is that?
because it's cool and it's gonna also like bundle all the new stuff we have because it really also sounds fresh. It's really new stuff. It's really fresh. It's kind of unheard for many.
Yeah.
And for us, it's better to bundle it so people can really get a taste of it and it doesn't get mixed up with the older stuff we do.
Yeah. Okay.
So Bassjackers new style.
Cool. That's it for this week. Make sure to share this podcast with your friends, family, colleagues,
Yeah.
dogs, everybody.
Share it with the owners of the dogs.
Owners
The
of the dogs.
usually they don't share it. They
No,
also
they
don't
don't have-
thumbs and
yeah.
iPhones.
Exactly. Face recognition.
Yeah.
Hard.
They have thumbs, but not how do you say that? Opposable.
thumbs.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes
But
it hard.
we will be
Sucks.
back next week with another fresh episode. I hope you guys liked it, and see you next week.
Hey,
Bye bye.
you're there, Rob.